The rolling hills of Southern Virginia farm country might be considered an unlikely home for a world-class road course, but amidst this bucolic backdrop lies one of the finest road racing venues on the continent. Since it opened its doors in 1957, VIR has infatuated the world's best drivers with its beauty, its speed, and its immense challenge. And let's see that challenge firsthand with our Porsche track preview.
Hi, my name is Jan Halen, driving for Wright Motorsports here at Virginia International Raceway, and this is the Porsche track preview. As we come onto the front straightaway, ready to start this lap. Front straight, passing start finish here, 6th gear, hard into the brakes at the 3 sign, down the 2nd gear. Big rotation here using just a little bit of that inside curbing. Back to power, and then onto turn 3, double left-hander. Really tricky corner here on the way in. Lifting a small tap on the brake and then using all that exit curb here on the outside. Hard onto the brake, 2nd gear into turn 4. Short shift up to 3rd. Turn 5, and then just barely lifting here into turn 6 onto the lower S's. And then a good stretch here. And ready for the famous S's here at Virginia International Raceway. Starting right here at the bottom. Super fun section of the track in these GT3Rs. All flat out, all the way to the top of the hill. Quick stab on the brake, 5th gear. Very fast section of the track. Then into Oak Tree, down the 2nd gear. Big rotation, getting ready for a good exit. And then back onto the back straightaway. Long straightaway, good opportunity here to overtake into turn 14. Lots of slipstreaming going on. Virginia is a track that really rubbers in, so as the weekend goes on, as long as you don't get too much rain, lots of rubber going down, which makes the track even better. Hard on the brakes here, right at the 50 sign, deep into the brake zone. Down turn 15, and then ready for the roller coaster. Almost flat going over this first curb, down 1 gear, and then onto the front straightaway. And that was 1 lap here at Virginia International Raceway.
VIR represents rounds 5 and 6 of the Fanatec GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS, part of a 4-part global championship for GT3 manufacturers. The Fanatec GT World Challenge, powered by AWS. Points scored in championships in North America, Europe, as well as in Australia, and eventually the Asian Championship as well. All possible for these manufacturers of GT3 cars, a chance to score points across multiple classes. This is a look at the points to this point in the season, coming off of a race yesterday, as well as a recent round at Paul Ricard from the European Championship. And it is Lamborghini scoring very well, but trailing Mercedes just a little bit. Porsche, certainly a strong start to the season. Ferrari, as well as McLaren, BMW, and Audi, also a part of the SRO's Global Manufacturers Championship, the Fanatec GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. Getting ready for the 6th round of the championship here. Round 5 was yesterday. Let's look at how it played out. Race 1 of the weekend, Calvin. It was a wild one.
And look at that move down to the inside with Michael Dinan aboard the Turner Motorsports BMW. Tries to make a move on Corey Lewis. Side by side there with that green Lamborghini and Corey Lewis. But Russell Wards gets the power down and moves up to 2nd early.
Still chasing Andrea Caldarelli in the K-Pax Racing Lamborghini. The pole sitter able to build a bit of a gap from the lead, but look, fierce stuff further back. This is Michael DeMeo in his debut in GT3 racing. It was going well until this.
Just gets a little bit loose through the S's, doesn't recover. Carries too much speed in Oak Tree, damage to that rear wing. They get it back to pit lane. Then further drama for the Red and Racing Lamborghini. This is Jeff Burton pulling over with engine failure.
That engine was done, but they have a second chassis on site for a different championship. That one is being pressed into service. Big moment here during the mandatory pit stop window. The McLaren from Optimum Motorsports pitting in the wrong stall, and that really set off a chain reaction.
It did, but the overcut by the Winward Racing team, look at that, he comes out ahead of the K-Pax McLaren. Colin Brown trying to make a move. That car's handling was not where it needed to be on the day.
Colin, though, coming back up through the field after that. This pass on Drew Stavely into turn 11. Winward on that alternate strategy looked like they were in the catbird seat, but a penalty on pit lane set them back. They'll be the pole sitters later today. This continues to be that comeback drive, though, from Colin Brown.
Yeah, on the attack, makes this move around Jacob Abel there for the third position in class.
But across the line first for the fourth time in 5 races, K-Pax Racing, Jordan Pepper, Andrea Caldarelli. As a team, Calvin, K-Pax perfect on the season. They've won each of the first 5 races, but could be a different story today.
It really could. A lot of really fast cars. The Windward Racing Mercedes had that lead yesterday with the overcut that they did in their strategy. Had that penalty, which was so unfortunate. I think they had the pace, Ryan, to win that race, but they're going to be very tough to beat here today.
Let's take a look at the starting grid. Pay attention to where your favorite team is starting here today. Jan Halen on pole, or on the outside pole, rather. Russell Ward on pole for Windward Racing. Actually, it'll be Michael Grenier starting that car. He shares with Russell Ward. Then another super sub. We've talked about a couple of them already, but Sandy Mitchell standing in very well for Giacomo Altoe this weekend.
Yeah, watch for that bright white Lamborghini Hurricane. He set a fast lap yesterday in the race, almost the second clear of the field, so the young Scotsman is literally flying here this weekend.
Another one we talked about, Brendan Reed, but Ollie Milroy will be starting that McLaren. He has been very fast this weekend and loves this place. Michael Cooper, Aaron Vogel starting in 8th after winning in Pro-Am yesterday. All the way down in 9th, though. That's where you find the number 6 K-Pax Racing Lamborghini with those little issues, possibly electrical. They hope they've got it fixed. We'll find out soon enough. Rest of the starting grid scrolling by on your screen. But it will be the Canadian, Michael Grenier, leading his field around here to take the green flag in just a few corners time. 3.27 miles is the length, 17 corners at VIR.
Saw some smoke there in that white Lamborghini Hurricane. I'm not sure if Sandy Mitchell just locked up the brakes. Sometimes you kind of power the car against the brake and the throttle pedal at the same time, trying to generate some tire temp.
All eyes on the front row. Porsche versus Mercedes. Michael Grenier to the left. It is Jan Halen to the right. Then you've got a couple of Lamborghinis from 2 different teams in the second row looking for the green flag as they enter that start zone. Along the pit straight, green flag flies, and off goes Michael Grenier. Great start for him. The battle is on for third with Jordan Pepper to the outside of Sandy Mitchell. They're side by side in that second row. Give that position to Jordan Pepper.
Yeah, spicy move there from Pepper, but look again, Halen, he's very deep on the brakes there. Almost got into the tail end of that Windward Racing Mercedes, but our pole sitter has taken off here a little bit.
Robbie Foley side by side with Colin Brown. That's the BMW to the inside, the Mercedes to the outside. Close quarters racing. Jeff Burton and Vesko Kozarov sharing that Lamborghini that just went off in the background of the shot.
Kozarov off someone else in the dirt. I'm not sure which car that is. It may have been one of the DXDT racing machines. Someone down. Oh, that's Ollie Milroy.
Looks like
that's the McLaren. May have had a touch there. Right rear damage.
Long way to limp that car back around as well. Misfortune for them after a trying weekend that's had its highs and lows. But really showing the resolve of that squad. Michael Grenier leading in the 33 Mercedes for Windward Racing. Jan Halen, the Belgian driver, right behind in the Porsche. And here comes Jordan Pepper lurking, kind of a Darth Vader look to that race car. That's what it looks like in the rearview mirror for Jan Halen right now.
Yeah, and this may be the toughest challenge this year for the K-Pax squad to get a victory. They've got 2 really fast cars in front of them, particularly that Windward Racing machine, but you know they've got to think about the big picture. 2 drivers in this event. The overall strategy over 90 minutes. There's Sandy Mitchell aboard that number 9 bright white Huracan. He's run here before, and Lamborghini Super Trofeo was on the pole back in 2019 and just slotted into the seat perfectly.
Took the words right out of my mouth there, Calvin. I was going to make that exact same point. It's a different car, but same base chassis effectively between the Trofeo car and the GT3 car. And he's doing a nice job really impressing the TR3 Racing team. Took a little peek to the inside there, did Jan Halen, but thought better of it. Now tucks back in line. It's still Michael Grenier leading the way.
Still seems like Grenier's got a really good, well-balanced race car here today as well. Certainly Halen is up on the wheel. He picked up the draft there, so he's actually a little bit quicker down that front straightaway. Was inching in on the rear bumper of that Mercedes, but Mitchell is doing a great job there as well. A little bit further deep in the pack.
Half a lap ago, it looked like Colin Brown was under attack from Robbie Foley. He fended off that attack, and now he is starting to apply some pressure to Sandy Mitchell in the white Lamborghini just up the road. Love this shot here. These cars coming through the climbing S's.
Oh, there's nothing like it globally. I don't feel it's just an amazing piece of racetrack. That ribbon that twists and flows up there at high speed. Colin Brown's having a nice run. He's the 5th car in line right now. That red and black and gray strike machine. We're not happy with the balance here yesterday, all weekend in fact. They tested here for a couple of days. Really felt they had a handle on the race car. And the racetrack was just not giving them the grip that they expected, but it's rubbered in nicely now. A lot of rain here on Thursday evening, kind of washed the track green, as we call it, so it didn't have the rubber down, and gradually the racetrack is picking up grip, picking up rubber. And here's Robbie Foley on the back of a nice runner-up finish yesterday.
He's running 3rd in the pro class, but 6th overall. Again, it is the pros and the pro-am lineups that started this race, so we really do have a mixed-up running order at the moment. The beauty of this format, looks a lot different from day to day. And here is Ollie Milroy in the pits, dropping another lap.
Just getting the car back has basically shredded that tire and the wheel as well. And if you're not careful, you come back with too much speed. And I'm not saying Ollie did this, but great other damage inside that wheel well to the brake line, the sensors and everything else.
My team will take a look at it. It's a European-based crew and runs that car in other championships in Europe as well. We go full course yellow here on the 3rd lap. That will bunch everybody back up again. Not sure exactly what the full course yellow is for, although I did see some debris at one point that appeared on the track, so I'll speculate for a moment that that might have been the cause of this issue.
I think so. It's down the back straightaway. There's a lot of rubber and debris, so I think as Ollie was coming back at speed down Madison Avenue, he may have had the tire let go completely. There's the carcass.
I can't leave that out there for someone to hit at speed, that's for sure. All right, down to pit lane, Amanda Busick with an update.
Well, you can just feel the wind pulled out of the cells here. There is suspension damage. This car will not make it back on the track day. You think of the battles that this team has gone through this weekend, not the way that they wanted to end it here, guys.
Yeah, it's been a tough one for the team. What a great debut they had at Circuit of the Americas. They weren't with us for the first round of the championship over at Sonoma, but came in and really announced their presence with an excellent run at Circuit of the Americas in the 3rd and 4th races of the season. Hasn't been quite so smooth here, but definitely they've been fast. Some misfortune here, however, today, and the day appears to be done early for Ollie Milroy and Brendan E. Reeb. Up front, though, Mikhail Grenier leading the way under full course yellow at Virginia International Raceway. Mikhail Grenier leads this field of GT3 machines. The debris has been cleaned up, and we are about to go back to racing. Good jump there by the Mercedes driver, but Jan Halen right in the tire tracks as they take the green flag once again. Further back at Sandy Mitchell coming under attack from Colin Brown.
Yeah, Colin Brown's got a really good run on him. Floats to the outside there as they get down towards the brake zone. Really nice job by Mikhail. Oh, there's a touch there.
Looked like Mitchell might have locked it up a little bit. I saw some tire smoke and never quite got that car turned. They're able to continue on. Brown gets that spot. Foley goes through. It's the other K-Pax racing car, Giovanni Venturini, who gets through as well. So Sandy Mitchell drops 3 spots with 1 mistake.
Yeah, and with that, Venturini's having a good start to this race. Hasn't had the pace this weekend with those gearbox issues and selection issues, but hopefully they are now 100%. You see Michael Cooper going on the attack there against Madison Snow.
That was awfully close. There might have been a little rub there, too. Back now, that opens up an opportunity for Drew Stavely to come through. The Ian Lacey racing team had a really good run yesterday. Cooper just barely able to slot back in line behind Stavely and in front of Matt McMurray.
Yeah, and those two guys have been used to running like that in GT4 competition over the last couple of years, so they know each other's habits and behavior pretty well. Nice move there by Drew to take advantage of Michael being handicapped a little bit there off the S's.
Yeah, I think those two won all of the races combined between the two of them in Pirelli GT4 America Sprint competition last year in the pro class, and now going at it in GT3 cars. At the front of the field, Jan Hagland not letting Mikhail Grenier get away. It was razor thin between these two in qualifying, 18 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, and similar margin right now, and it's tough to follow this closely like Jan Halen is. You get through some of these high-speed corners, you get a little bit of what we call aero wash, where the air is taking off those dive points. on these GT3 cars, so Jan's doing a good job. He'd love to get that clean air on the front end of that Porsche. And right here, I think the Porsche a little bit stronger in the straightaway here, particularly when he starts to catch that draft from about 10 car lengths back on the Mercedes.
Doing a nice job to stay right behind Mikhail Grenier in that Mercedes. And look there in the background, it is Jordan Pepper. And a good run yesterday.
Oh, he's
off
wide.
track.
Yeah, that was wide. That was a little error there. That will have cost him a 10th or 2.
Oh, and Jan Halen has to love that. That's showing that little bit of weakness that you thrive on if you're the driver chasing.
Yeah, just because you feel that the leader's got things under control, that'll really give Jan Halen the opportunity to think, okay, he's head here a little bit. Nick is doing a really good job up front, though. Grenier, he's doing a nice job here of handling this pressure, handling this lead.
Sandy Mitchell recovering after the slight bobble earlier. That TR3 team making the switch from Ferraris to Lamborghinis this year. They made it look pretty easy. Sandy Mitchell filling in for Giacomo Altoe, so swapping out one Lamborghini factory driver for another.
Good news is that Lamborghini, along with Colin Brown, didn't suffer any damage to that little argy-bargy down there in turn 1 with that scuffle. Tell you what, Jan Halen really rolled a lot of speed through Oak Tree. Kind of not too concerned about actually hitting the curb apex there. Just seems to roll about a couple of miles an hour more, and if you keep the balance coming off, that should translate to more speed. Oh, and look at Pepper, he is off. Pepper has missed his braking point. He's going to make a shortcut run across the racetrack here. Concern is grass in the radiator grille and damage to that front splitter. Pretty smooth ride, all things considered.
It's Pepper's first trip to this track, and he said he had to learn to respect it pretty early. Had it off, had a near miss early in the weekend, was able to collect it and keep it going. Similar story here, but lost a lot of ground, and you're right, you have to wonder about those radiator inlet ducts.
I'm surprised there because I did not believe that he was really in a battle with Halen or feeling any pressure from behind, so one would assume that he just missed his braking point a little bit, and that's how much they're pushing. There's no margin here. If you make that little error with this racetrack, it's old school, dire consequences. He really got away with one there, the championship leader, in terms of no damage to the race car. If that had happened on yesterday, or it's certainly Friday with the rain that we'd had here, that would have been a different story, because you're literally along for the ride. You don't really have any steering input in where the car is going to go.
Gail Grenier leading Jan Halen, then Colin Brown, Robbie Foley fourth in the Turner BMW, Giovanni Venturini, Sandy Mitchell leading this little battle that we're looking at here, and Ryan Diao, what a great recovery, up 8 spots from the back of the grid. This car was so damaged it could not take part in the race yesterday.
Look at this, Ryan Diao looks to the inside. I didn't expect this. Sandy Mitchell is backing up. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack here this weekend. Ryan Diao just slides on past his fellow Scotsman there.
Up another spot, Ryan Dial up 9 positions in the opening 17 minutes. He's on a charge at VIR. I think we got an update in the pit lane. Let's go down to Amanda.
Well, guys, you guys are going to see Jordan Pepper come in here shortly. They're going to replace all the tires on Jordan's car from where he exited the track there earlier in the race. Also curious of if there is an ABS issue, but nonetheless, this is going to be a long way to come back for this K-Pax team. Andrea Cottarelli, who was away changing, will not be happy with this news when he returns.
It'll be heartbreaking to come back and find out that this was necessitated, so must have felt like something was a little bit off after the off-track excursion, and I want to see if they can try and clear off that grill. There it is, because that grass can do a number on temperatures inside these cars.
Yeah, Kerrigan Smith and the staff here at VI had to do a great job of keeping this place well manicured, but I think with the wet weather, it's not allowed maybe the grass cutting to take place here, but this is not what we expected here from the championship leaders. ABS being an anti-lock braking system, you'd have to think it was maybe more of a technical issue for someone with Jordan's pace and experience to make that little error.
And problems for Colin Brown, DXDT Racing, smoke out of the back of that Mercedes.
Wow. This car's laid down the fastest lap of the race at 146.5. Very much in the mix, and looks like a cut down tire possibly. A little bit of debris out there because we had that issue with Ollie Milroy probably having contact relating to his puncture, and then just driving that car back for full lap has left some little shards possibly around this racetrack.
Colin had just turned the fastest lap on that previous lap of anyone. He had the fastest lap of the race several laps prior.
For him is going to be keeping on the lead lap as well. Late in the lap here, so shouldn't be too much damage to that race car. Tires essentially kept its integrity to get it back to pit lane. Entering the, problem here, Stavely, I believe. Quick spin coming out of Oak Tree. Local yellow. He's got fire underneath again, so we're good to go.
Well, he will rejoin the fight, but in front of Jordan Pepper, who continues his recovery drive here at Virginia International Raceway. Mikhail Grenier out in front of Jan Halen.
Looking at this battle up front. Mikhail Grenier is hanging tough here. He just wants to try and maintain that lead. Expect him to extend this run probably about 8 to 9 minutes longer. They won't cut it too close in case there's a bubble on that in lap. You can't afford to get too aggressive on that strategy, but he's in a rhythm. He's got clean air up ahead of him. Just want to try and extend that gap back to Foley as much as he can.
Window is open. Not sure how busy it'll be right away, but we shall see as Grenier continues to lead the way through the S's. Remember, they were in a position where it looked like they might be in line for a win yesterday. It was an issue on the pit lane that ultimately cost them. There are several places where it could go wrong, but you really don't expect either of these two teams to make a mistake on pit lane. What Windward is doing around the world, the input that they get from HTP, and then Wright Motorsports, tons and tons of experience in long-distance racing where pit stops are commonplace.
Yes, and we're getting to the heart of the season right now with the round 6 of a 14-race championship. So they're very much in their mode of the rhythm and what you need to be doing. But anything can go wrong. We saw yesterday the mechanic just bounced the tire off the other tire that was sitting on the ground, bounced towards the pit lane, fast lane, and the photographer grabbed it, but the stewards elected that was a penalty. And that cost them the win for sure.
Two Lamborghinis side by side. Madison Snow in the Zalus car. That's the multicolored car. Comes out on top of this one. Sandy Mitchell was trying to get that spot back. Matt McMurray has used this as a chance to close in as well. Battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th overall.
McMurray having a really nice run here for Compass. This is the day they needed kind of a little bit of a bounce back.
Here comes Mitchell off of Hogpen. Gets a great run on Madison Snow. TR3 Racing versus Zalus.
Yeah, this is a drag race. Venturini, we talked about maybe him coming in one of the early stoppers to get Corey Lewis behind the wheel. K-Back kind of playing that strategy. See if they catch a break with maybe an incident on the racetrack. Here he comes.
Yep, we do see the K-Pax car come into the pits. Sandy Mitchell unable to make that pass on Madison Snow, but now we watch the first roll of the dice here. Strategy playing out before us with 48 minutes left to go. Corey Lewis will replace Giovanni Venturini. Home soil for Corey, the lone American member of this K-Pax Racing lineup.
We assume that wiring harness change has affected a fix on the car. We haven't seen any stumbles, any kind of inconsistent lap times at all from Venturini. But still on the back foot. He had a crash. You see the bodywork there, that black bumper. That is not normal. He had a crash himself in practice here earlier in the weekend. They lost the session, that session plus the next session. So didn't quite get the track time that they were looking for.
Car drops off to Jackson. They held it, and if you're new to SRO racing, that might look strange, but typically that is a very good sign.
Nice.
Minimum pit speed delta, pit lane delta rather, 71 seconds for Fanatec GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. They did it in
71.083.
Picture perfect from K-Pax, as we've come to expect, and the rest of the teams up and down pit lane, they've seen that. They know they need to be perfect now too, or else they'll give up some time.
So this is what we call the overcut. These guys staying out there, got clean racetrack, laying down very competitive laps still. Here comes Sandy Mitchell. Thought he might have stayed out a little bit longer. He should certainly be a little bit quicker than his teammate out there, but maybe he's just having some issues. You see him lock up a few times down into turn 1.
On the bright side, he'll have a much more clean pit lane to work with than his co-driver Ziad Gondor had yesterday. It's really where their race went sideways. There was a miscue, car pitted in the wrong pit stall, and it caught them out more than others. Really nothing they could do about that, but able to pit with no interference on the pit lane. And here comes Michael Cooper inserting himself into this equation. He and Aaron Vogel picked up a historic win yesterday in the Pro-Am class. They made a ton of progress through the field, currently running in 7th, but part of that is the pit stop shuffles. As Mitchell gets out of the car, Ziad Gondor will slide in. This continues to be the fight at the very front of this field. There's been nothing to separate these two. That goes back to qualifying, as we talked about. It was an incredibly close qualifying session. Mikhail Grenier, his first race in GT World Challenge America. First time back at VIR since racing in Pro Mazda, Star Mazda, I guess it would have been called back in those days. Did a Formula BMW test, he said, that really helped him get his career going here at this track, and hasn't really been back since. But he drops a wheel off there. This could be the chance.
Yeah, that would have lost him a little bit of traction there. Jan Halen's going to be a little bit closer. That Porsche's a little bit quicker, picking up the draft. Here we go. Game on.
Fight for the overall lead. Jan Halen to the right. It is Mikhail Grenier to the left. Not a class position changing hands, and Jan Halen gets it done.
First major slip of the day for the youngster up front. They can go 2 more laps possibly, but it's going to be tight. I think maybe 1 more lap and then let's see what they do. Maybe Grenier will bail here after that little slip if the team is ready for him. No, he stays out as well.
So they will push it 1 more lap. Looked like some problems on a couple of the exchanges we've seen so far. The Sandy Mitchell to Ziad Gondor stop, if timing is to be believed, lasted over 2 minutes. Esko Kazarov to Jeff Burton a little on the slow side as well.
I think just 1 more because it's going to be squeaky to get to it and beat. You don't have to have the service done with 40 minutes to go, but you have to at least cross the stripe into pit lane.
Here comes the Turner car. Turner boys going to work.
Michael Dinan, he's used to doing this. These guys have run together a lot over the last couple of years.
And they've got this down to a science at this point. Yesterday's Pro-Am winners in the pits as well. Michael Cooper climbing out. Aaron Vogel, we heard from her at the start of the show. She will get in. Michael will help her with that radio plug. Communication is so important.
Watch the door there. The door is not clipped.
It is
Hopefully
not.
someone will notice that. That's a little bit of an error for someone like Robbie. You certainly need to check that that is closed and locked. You normally see him give an extra little push.
Ah, someone did see it.
Yep.
Good on the Turner guys. That might cost them a little bit of time, but it's worth it. Make sure that gets taken care of.
Those the little details. Yes. Nothing worse than a podium run suddenly to come awry. It's tough for the driver to reach that through the netting and everything on the side if it was loose.
This looks like a good stop from DXDT Racing. We'll look at the timing when he crosses that line, but again, you saw him sit and wait for a moment. That typically bodes well.
Here's the undercut. Corey Lewis trying to make a move here. This is for position in class. Even though Dinah's got tires out the tire warmers, Corey Lewis should have the energy in his critical few corners here for Michael Dinah to try and hang on. This is where his experience will come into play. Pinches him a little bit. Corey Lewis trying to figure it out. Can he get the undercut here coming off? Now it's going to be tough. Tough to pass here through the S's.
But Dinan seemed to slow down.
He did, dramatically there.
Now he seems to be back on speed, but
that was really strange.
Yes, it was.
He looked like he's off and on his way there, and it was going to be the other way around in terms of following this car through. See that hood there just flapping a little bit on the right side for Michael Dinan as well. I'm not sure if the pin has come adrift or broken.
It was a quick stop, by the way, from Cooper to Vogel, 72 seconds, so a little bit over, but you can live with that. Madison Snow to Jason Harward, considerably slower.
There's not too many to shout about up on the board right now. Let's see what Wright Motorsport can do. Winwood will be in at the same time. This is going to be a battle for the lead.
And that door issue did cost Turner. They were about 5 seconds over, I believe.
71.5, so half a second outside for Wright Motorsport. 71.8 for Winwood. 2 really nice, clean stops by our leaders. Should maintain that lead as Corey Lewis gives chase in the second of the Lamborghini, second in the championship chase. I'm talking about leading car here today.
So it should shuffle out with Fred Pordad leading overall. He's been in positions like this over the last couple of seasons. The reigning AM champion raced alongside Max Root for most of the year last year as an AM pairing, but Max was very, very fast. And there were several times on these Sunday races where Max would turn it over to Fred, well up in the overall running order, and Fred would keep it there.
His elbows out. He's
Yes.
not intimidated, which is nice to see.
Does look like Russell Ward is on a charge, though. He is very confident. Able to close in some of that. Here we've got TR3 Racing coming through, then the K-Pax car, then the Turner car. So whatever happened to the Turner BMW, it seems to have been temporary, but it did slow down rather suddenly, and that let Corey Lewis slip on by.
Ryan Dial has been in, turned it over to David Askew. Nice stop there as well, 71.5. So we're starting to see some good ones. The initial pit stops weren't that great, but everyone has executed well of the late pit stoppers.
It was a great opening stint from Ryan Dial, coming from the very back in a car that had been taken back to North Carolina for repairs. Up, I think, close to double-digit positions. Here comes the battle for the lead. Russell Ward, not wasting any time, slips inside and gets that spot off of Fred Pordad. Battle for the overall lead has been decided, but again, that is not a class battle. So Fred Pordad still the leader in Pro-Am. We'll have, looks like David Askew trying to chase him down.
I understand the 91 has had a pit lane violation. They're going to have to suffer a drive-through penalty for that. So a tough weekend for those guys coming back from that injured failure on their primary car yesterday, running their backup car here today.
Yep, that is the Reardon Racing car, Vesko Kozarov and Jeff Burton. Penalty handed down to them. It is Russell Ward back out in front for Windward Racing. Fred Pordad continues to lead in Pro-Am, running second overall.
It was bad news for that 20 squad. They're having a great run here today, leading in Pro-Am. Guess what? Pit lane infringement. No helmet on the dead man in terms of the person who's got the dead man valve on the car during the refueling. So that is not good news for Wright Motorsports. It's going to drop them out of the Pro-Am lead.
That really hurts.
That means this battle we're looking at right now is potentially for the win.
You can believe that the crews are getting on the respective radios to let them know, hey, that's not just for second, that's for the class win right there. So David Askew, Michael DeMeo, they're going to be going at it here before too much longer. An update from the pit lane, though, now with Amanda Busick.
Well, as we saw at the top of the show, it's been a big salute to service weekend here at VIR. We even had a flyover over the racetrack yesterday. Supporting that is Operation Motorsport, and Jason Leash is on hand with us here today. What more can you tell us about Operation Motorsport?
Thanks for having us. So, Operation Motorsport is a nonprofit 501c3 founded in Brighton, Ontario, and Raleigh, North Carolina in 2017. The premise behind us is to engage medically retiring and wounded service members as they transition out of the military in order to provide a sense of purpose, team, and identity. And we find that by embedding them into professional race car teams here within SRO. There are so many parallels between military operations and motorsports that this seemed like a very natural environment in order to engage those who could really use our help.
And one of those guys getting that firsthand experience right over Jason Solder right there is Will Babineau. He's working on Aaron Vogel's car.
Aaron just dropped a spot to Taylor Hagler, but nevertheless a great battle on track there. Great Operation Motorsport organization, and they've been a great member of this paddock for the last couple of years. That's the drive-through penalty there. But on this this weekend of memorial service, so much salute to the troops going on here. Great to have Operation Motorsport on site and heavily integrated with a number of teams up and down the paddock. Russell Ward continues to lead over Corey Lewis.
Oh, quick spin here. Aaron Vogel had a fierce battle with Hagler. She just lost that position a couple of laps ago.
That had her in the 5th position. Let's take a look and see what happened. Winner yesterday.
Just carries too much speed there, runs out of road. Got everything slowed down, but you got to be careful now with the elevation change there. You don't tear that splitter off. With the rally coming through.
Yep, but still 5 laps down is that car. I think K-Pax just trying to get to the point where they can score some points, but here comes the battle for the lead in Pro-Am. Askew defending in the Mercedes. Right behind Michael DeMeo. Just his 2nd ever GT3 race, swings to the outside of Askew.
David tucks it in nicely. Kind of was proactive just in terms of taking that line. Look, he's sideways there, coming off of the first corner. DeMeo to the inside, takes the class lead. David tries to fight back to his flank. Side by side, Fred Portad looking for opportunity.
One more left-hand corner coming in this sequence. DeMeo is through to the lead. Portad can't follow him through. Askew closes off that opening. Now DeMeo trying to make good his escape once he's finally made that pass. Compass Racing leads.
Well, he just got the hammer down there and has taken off. Created a nice buffer, nice gap. He can just look forward, hit his marks. No pressure from behind right now.
Seeing a little bodywork flapping on the Askew car. Look at this. Once he got by, Michael DeMeo has stolen a march. A huge gap has developed, and quickly.
He's super conservative there through turn 11 and 12 there. He doesn't want to make the same mistake he made yesterday.
Now the urgency for Fred Portad just ramped up because he's watching the leader in the class jet away after making that move. Now he needs to find a way past David Askew if he can. At the very front end of this field, though, it's Windward Racing showing the way. Russell Ward taking over for pole sitter Mikhail Grenier. They've controlled this race by and large from the drop of the green, swapping the lead in a battle with Wright Motorsports earlier on, but they've claimed it since. Russell Ward out in front. This is where we've seen Askew have a problem in the past, a little bit weak off of Oak Tree, and there is Portad in the slipstream.
You can't fill the mirrors any more than that. Right in the silhouette there as they come down Madison Avenue. This is a tough one. If you're on the right-hand side, driver's right as you're coming down there, you're kind of going the long way around into that tricky brake zone. So David holds station right now, but I think you're spot on with Taylor Hagler. Looking at her lap times and her pace, she has potential here to climb on the podium before we see the checkered flag here today. There you see it just in the background as we come through roller coaster. David Askew really throwing it through Hogpen there on that lap. That was nice.
And we'll keep our eyes on timing and scoring there, but for now, David Askew continues to fend off Fred Portad, but the Porsche's got to run once again, this time on the front straightaway.
David just being proactive, sticks to the middle of the road, then he feints over to the right. Stewards may look, then he's wide, misses his braking point, just understeers off, probably into the ABS. Whereas Taylor Hagler, is she close enough to take advantage? There she goes. She's up to third.
So put Racer's Edge on the podium, and Hagler has been fast, so there's a chance she could latch on to Fred Portad, and those two together trying to chase down Michael DeMeo, who's got the lead at the moment. In Pro-Am, had built a gap of up around 6 seconds at the start-finish line the last time by.
Could be a big day for Acura in the Pro-Am class. Possible 1-2. They're leading right now. Very fast. Racer's Edge Acura on the attack for that second position.
Russell Ward, some smoke there in Hogpen.
Is there a car there?
There is
a car. That's Aaron Vogel, I believe.
Yesterday's winner in Pro-Am along with Michael Cooper. Oh, and David Askew in the tire wall.
Aaron,
maybe that's
Aaron.
the one.
Yeah, I think so. Sort of the front end, but it was maybe Aaron's car.
That was your class leader in Pro-Am for a time. He was running in 4th. A pretty healthy gap back to Harward, but did drop that spot. Vogel also got through, it looks like. Not sure what led to that, but final lap here for Russell Ward. Mikhail Grenier. First weekend in the series, might be the magic touch the team needed. Nothing against Philip Ellis, who was very, very fast and will resume his rightful place in this team. But not a bad homecoming to North American soil for Grenier.
Really strong. Great opportunity for these young drivers. I know he's well-established AMG factory pilot, but nonetheless, to come here and make a statement like this, that pole position lap was sensational. We thought Jan Halen was going to get it. He had a little slip coming into this corner here. Cost him a few thousandths, and that was the pole.
And here is your Pro-Am leader as well. Michael DeMeo coming up on some lap traffic. JC Sada just up ahead. Of course, a Ferrari. Been another nice, solid weekend. Quiet and uneventful. And when you're the only car in your class, that's really what you're looking for. And the cavalry's coming. By all accounts, we should have some more AM entries coming before the end of the season. But they'll have the added advantage of having worked together as a team thus far in the season, and a lot of lessons learned And again, great to have AF Corsa as part of the championship. Out of hog pen for the final time, Russell Ward, Mikhail Grenier, and Windward Racing break K-Pax's stranglehold. They win race 2 of the weekend at VIR.
Stellar job by the whole operation. Could have swept the weekend other than that little slip in pit lane. And now he runs off the racetrack. That's not part of the program.
Just spicing it up for us. You didn't have to do that, Russell. We were plenty entertained as it was. Wonder if he just was too busy celebrating.
Well, you tend to try and run around the outside of the track, pick up some of the marbles. That'll raise the car up a little bit. Tires kind of snowball, and there are some limits that you have to meet in post-race tech, but that's taking it to extreme, I think.
Yeah. Michael DeMeo still hopping over some of these curbs. Compass Racing, boy, oh boy, it has not been a great year for them. No finish better than 5th until now. Michael DeMeo on his GT3 debut weekend shares class victory with Matt McMurray. Compass Racing gets the breakthrough performance they've been looking for.
Awesome job. Matt McMurray was really quick at the start of this race, only a few tenths off the fastest lap of the race here today. Really making a statement.
Outstanding performance from them. That's second in Pro-Am at the back of the shot. That, though, is the winner by default to some degree in AM. Conrad Grunwald, Jean-Claude Sada. Like said, just a nice, solid, quiet weekend for the AF Corsa team. Russell Ward and Mikhail Grenier, the whole Windward team, they'll be celebrating, and we'll be hearing from our winners very soon in Victory Lane at VIR. Let's take a look here at the results, and you see it there. Russell Ward, Mikhail Grenier, Windward Racing at the top of the heap. What a great weekend they had. It very easily could have been 2 wins.
It could have been. Really had a strong car. Great driving by both those guys. Little faux pas in the pit lane cost them yesterday. Tough call on that. But that's racing, and they bounced back nicely today.
Well, Russell, you brought that Mercedes in here screaming. How excited were you to see that checkered flag not go to K-Pax here this weekend?
Yeah, look, it's good. I mean, they did a good job yesterday, and unfortunately it wasn't our day. But the crew, you know, made up for everything, and just a flawless race from all of us. So, I mean, just super proud of everybody. And it's a long time coming. We've been steadily improving from Sonoma, and so every race is getting better and better. And now we claim the first victory, and so feels really good.
Mickey, you're over by the guardrail to see that car take the checkered flag. What gave your team the edge here today?
Oh, I think the team, we started testing on Wednesday. The team did a really good job. I think we had a really good setup. The quali was really good. Russell improved a lot this weekend. He was really on it. And the whole crew did a good job, so we could pull the win off.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
The disappointment yesterday, reunited with his old championship-winning team. Got the chance to fill in this weekend for Rodrigo Salas, who was racing over at Paul Ricard. And he will share victory lane with Matt McMurray. Amanda.
Well, Matt, it's no secret the struggles that Compass Racing has had this season. When you have this moment, how does that make it worth it?
It's so good. It's been a long time coming. We've had a rough start, but it feels so good to finally do what we knew we could, show all the speed that we had. And I don't know, I'm really happy.
Michael, you were able to just fill this seat quite naturally.
Yeah.
What support did you have from this team that allowed you to perform so well this weekend?
The same support I had in 2014 when I won the championship, and 8 wins in that season for them. I got to thank Carl for giving me the opportunity. My sponsors to allow me to come down here and do what I was born to do. And this guy rocked it out on the opening stint, so really happy to have him as a co-driver. And we're going to celebrate tonight instead of hanging our heads low after yesterday's incident.
This one's emotional for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conrad, you guys pick up the win here in the AM class. Why do you think the Ferrari handled so well here at VIR?
There's a lot of turns, and that's what the Ferrari's made for. So it was a pretty good race for us. The car's really strong here, especially on the entry of the turns, and it was fun. It was hot, but it was fun, so we couldn't be happier.
Well, Jean-Claude, when I saw you yesterday on pit lane, you were just giddy and smiling at how much you loved VIR. Why do you love it so much here? It's your first time.
Because it is so scary. If you're not scared, you're not human. But that's the challenge, right? It was a lot of fun. You conquer your fears and you go for it. You make a mistake or two and you get over it and you just go full blast, and it's nothing like it. It's a pretty cool course.
Well done, you two.
Thank you.
Big weekend here at VIR. The K-Pax team picked up 1 win, and the win streak snapped by Windward here today. See you at Elkhart Lake.